Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Larry Martin. I'm the Business Services and Special Projects Manager for the Regional Employment Board of Hampden County. And in lieu of the time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a brief introduction of the panelists. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Regional Employment Board and our role in workforce development in this region, and then I'll hand it off to the panelists. So our first panelist that will be speaking is going to be William Mesner, President of Holyoke Community College. Our second panelist is Marie Downey, Executive Director for Boston Education Skills and Training Corps, who works in collaboration with the Greater Boston Hotel Employees Local 26. Our final panelist will be Lori Salome, lecturer from the Department of Hospitality and Tourism and Management for the Eisenberg School of Management at UMass Amherst. So I was listening to the comment that Spiros made about the data, and it sort of brought back memories, because when I was finishing my grad work, one of the projects we had to work on was data mining, and the model I used was actually Harris, and how they data mine customer service and how to build a better customer service model. So I found that very interesting. My only concern about data is to make sure that our college graduates from this region get an opportunity to go for those data mining type of jobs. So that's the approach that we're taking at the Regional Employment Board. So, this is a very exciting project. We've had a lot of great projects that's happened in this region. Bay State Health Systems, Hospital of the Future, a brand new vocational school, Putnam Academy. We're going to be breaking ground on the revitalization of Union Station. Lots of great projects, the rail project. But yet all of those projects and their visionary approach will not have the immediate workforce and economic impact of this project. We're talking about 1,500 to 2,000 construction jobs during phase one, and 2,200 to 2,800 full-time occupations of various type of skill sets that are going to be created by this initiative. The Regional Employment Board of Hampden County has been the region's primary convener to address workforce development issues since 1980. Established by federal and state law, the REB is a business-led nonprofit corporation that engages its members from business, education, labor, and community agencies to build and establish public policies that will build a better workforce from pre-K to grade. That's our primary mission. Meeting the existing and projected needs of business and industry and the labor force requires a collaborative effort, and key to this effort is our regional one-stop career centers, FutureWorks located in Springfield and Career Point located in Holyoke. These two organizations provide job seeker assistance, career readiness, career counseling, case management, and access to career training options. They also provide business services to include job postings and career fairs. An initiative of this magnitude requires a collaborative workforce effort. To comply with the requirements of the gaming legislation, but to also create equitable, effective, and efficient policies and procedures to address local and regional outreach, recruitment, assessment, selection, and training of our residents throughout the region. One of the things that Spiros brought up was the training the individuals that are within the community. And when I say community, wherever this project lands, we have to make sure that those who live in that local, direct impacted community have an opportunity to apply and be trained for these positions. And also keep in mind that if they don't make it through the first wave, you're not going to be left behind. Our vision is to also make sure we pull you up through additional training so you can come around in the next round. So we don't want to leave anybody behind. The second primary issue that Spiros brought up, and this is one of the things that I first thought about when this came up, because the Regional Employment Board deals with a lot of sector initiatives. We respond to sector initiatives, especially when employers are pilfering employees from one another because their industry is growing and they don't have enough skilled employees. So my main concern, and the Regional Employment Board's main concern, was what happens when this gaming casino hotel resort comes in, and there's this huge vacuum of job opportunities that are pulled into it, but but yet our other businesses and industry are going to be impacted, whether it's restaurant, whether it's services, financial sector. So our vision is to not only prepare an adequate workforce that has the skills and competencies to address the needs of whoever lands this project, but also support and continue to support the workforce pipeline for our existing business structure within this region. Two of our primary partners in workforce development are Springfield Technical Community College and Holyoke Community College. They have been vital partners in all of our sector initiatives, as well as other colleges in the region. We work with K through 12 and other partners, but these two colleges are a primary entryway for provide skilled workers to either matriculate to four-year colleges or directly into the workforce. And they have also taken the lead and are recognized as leaders in education, business, and workforce development in the region. Representing the community college system today, it is a privilege to have HCC President William Mesner here with us to discuss a strategic approach to training in support of Western Massachusetts Gaming Initiative. It is my pleasure to introduce William Mesner.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here today and to meet again with the commission members. As Larry indicated, and as you folks are aware, the community colleges for the last 6 months have been involved in an effort to put together a statewide collaborative approach towards meeting the unique workforce challenges that the advent of the casino industry brings to Massachusetts. That challenge grows out of the unique nature of the workforce of the casino industry. Just to mention some dimensions of that workforce. Number one, as you're well aware, casinos generate lots of jobs. Here in Western Massachusetts, each of the potential casino operators that we've talked to are talking in terms of minimum of 2,500 to 3,000 jobs. Extrapolate that across the state, you're talking close to 10,000 jobs, and then beyond that, the thousands of construction jobs and other ancillary jobs that might be generated. The good news is that's lots of jobs. The bad news is that's lots of jobs, particularly in an area we're sitting in right now in terms of Springfield, Holyoke, Chicopee. Unemployment rates are high. That certainly is the case, but the wealth of trained individuals job ready does not match even the current need, at least in some areas. Second dimension to the casino industry workforce that I think is important, and it's one that the governor pointed out was instrumental in his thinking as he signed this bill, was the casino industry focuses on what's called middle skills jobs, jobs that require more than a high school diploma but less than a baccalaureate degree. Studies that I've seen would indicate that upwards of 85% of the jobs within the casino industry fall into that designation. That, again, speaks to the needs of areas such as you have here in Western Massachusetts, where particularly unlike in the East, we have significant levels of folks who do not have baccalaureate degrees, but are looking for jobs. Third interesting dimension of the workforce for the casino industry is despite the fact that your name is the Gaming Commission, about 3/4 of the jobs in the casino industry don't have anything to do directly with gaming. Rather, they fall into areas such as food service, which we'll hear about in a bit, hospitality management, computer information security, computer networking, criminal justice, business management, accounting, and on and on. And a fourth dimension, which I think you're keenly aware of, is the fact that for reasons that I won't go into right now, jobs in the casino industry, and particularly in the gaming area, the whole notion of the integrity of the hiring process and the training process is going to be particularly important. Given all those dimensions, large numbers of jobs, middle skilled jobs, many jobs in areas that are ancillary to gaming, and the importance of the integrity of the training and hiring process, community colleges, when this legislation was signed, felt that this workforce effort particularly fell within our purview. In fact, we believe that we would be derelict if we did not embrace this challenge in terms of filling this workforce need. We have gone about that process. We met with you folks in June and outlined our first initial efforts at taking a comprehensive, collaborative, regional approach to this. We had agreed we'd come back in September, if I'm not mistaken, to update you as where we stand. Today gives us sort of an opportunity to give you an interim report on that. We've got a detailed, looking for Jeff Hayden here, but Jeff has got a detailed report which we'll give you at the end of the session. Simply to tell you what we've done over the last 2 months since we met with you is, number one, here in Western Massachusetts, we have done our best to gather the major workforce players to alert them, if they needed to be alerted, to the opportunity/challenge, and to make an effort to get them all on the same page in terms of crafting a workforce regional collaborative. The REB is playing a central part in that effort. University of Massachusetts has indicated its willingness to sign on, Westfield State University, many of the other nonprofits. We are also putting in place a regional coordinating team that will drive that process of putting in place training programs. On the basis of that model that we have now put in place here in Western Massachusetts, the other 2 regions are now embarking on their effort at bringing the workforce players around the table, both in the Boston area and the Southeast, also to sign a memorandum of agreement that the major players will work collaboratively in this effort, and to put into place in each of those regions regional coordinating teams as well. What we then are intending to do is come back to you in September, which we indicated when we met initially in June, and give to you, number one, a report on workforce best practices drawn from other states. Also a draft workforce plan that we hope that you will be able to use for your own purposes. Finally, we would like to suggest that we put in front of you a memorandum of agreement that will outline the expectations that you have for our collaborative and that we would have for you as well as we move forward in meeting this challenge. I should say that here in the West, we have now met with every one of the casino developers, if you will, who have gone public with their intention. We've shared with them our efforts in this regard. With at least 2 of them, we've sat down with their HR folks to make sure that we are certain as to what they are going to be looking for in terms of specific jobs and the like. And we're now in the process of beginning to outline what are the specific training programs that we think will be necessary to meet those needs. Similar process we intend then to put in place in each of the other regions as well. So that's where we stand as of this moment. Hopefully, when we meet with you again in September, those 3 regional MOUs will have been signed. We'll be able to give them to you, and we'll talk more about the specifics of how hopefully we can move ahead in combination with the Commission. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions for President Misner from the committee?
Just a quick one, Mr. President. When we met in June, the tribal compact with the governor hadn't been signed with the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe down for location in Taunton. How do you see the Southeast Regional Group either working with that entity or impacting the job opportunities in and around, say, the Boston region?
That's a good question, which we don't, as of this moment, have a definitive answer to. What we assume is that in terms of the credentialing requirements, the licensure requirements and the like, will be no different in the Southeast that they would be in either of the other 2 regions. We're certainly going to, and the folks in the Southeast region are going to have to sit down with that group and work through the specific jobs and the like that are going to be going on there. But my assumption is you're going to have to tell us what differences might or might not be existent there that we need to be sensitive to.
Well, there's lots more time to talk about this, but I think actually you'll have to be in touch with what we can help facilitate this, but with the Tribal Gaming Commission, which will be the first, they're us relative to the southeastern region.
Yeah.
We are then a sort of a backstop to them, but they will be the first line of communication, but there's plenty of time to get around to that.
Sure.
I'd also like to mention that the Franklin Hampshire Workforce Investment Board, as well as the Central Mass Workforce Investment Board, have also been part of the conversation. So we are taking the overall Western or the Pioneer Valley approach to this initiative. Next up is Marie Downey, who has over 25 years of experience working on issues related to workforce development. Since 2004, Marie has been the Executive Director of the Boston Education, Skills, and Training Corps. At Best Corps, she applies all of her professional skills and training to deliver a quality education experience for the members and employees of the Greater Boston Hotel Employees Local 26. From 1988 to 2004, Marie was the Vice President of Modern Assistance Program, Inc., an employee assistance program that provides counseling and comprehensive social services. Marie?
Thank you. This has been a very interesting afternoon. I've certainly heard a lot of information. There's so much to consider. Best Corp has a sector-based approach to workforce development. You know, we teach the skills that are needed for vital hospitality jobs. And oftentimes when people think of positions like cooks and room attendants and food servers, they think of low pay, no benefits, dead-end jobs, no career advancement opportunities. They don't think of these jobs as good jobs, jobs that pay enough to sustain families. And unfortunately, most of the time they're right. The majority of these jobs are forcing hardworking people to live in poverty. And the practice of outsourcing these jobs to temporary agencies has accelerated in the last few years. So we first saw the outsourcing trend in 2009 when the Hyatt hotels in Boston and Cambridge fired 100 long-term workers and replaced them with workers from a temp agency, reducing the hourly wage from $15 with benefits to $8.50 with no benefits. And there was an expectation for them to clean even more rooms. This is Janeret Estevez. and she was one of those temporary staffing housekeepers. She came here from the Dominican Republic, and she told me that she'd come home from work every day crying, saying to her sister, "This is why we came here? This is the American dream?" She found out about the hotel training center, and thankfully there is a better workforce development model out there. When we talk about middle-skilled jobs, a lot of time we're talking about middle-level wages. The jobs that I'm talking about right now have found a way, these hospitality employers in Boston have found a way, along with the Hotel Workers Union, to provide middle-skill wages. She now makes $19 an hour with benefits. So how do you make sure that jobs that come into your community are good jobs? It takes community commitment to make sure that business partners invest in good wages, benefits, and training. In our experience, this happens when workforce development strategies take an integrated approach, and labor, employers, and community partners are involved from the beginning. For more than 25 years, I've been involved with a shining example of a partnership that has proven that these jobs can be good jobs. This partnership now consists of over 30 hospitality employers and hotel operators like the Sheraton, the Westin, and the Ritz-Carlton, Unite Here Local 26, public and private funders, and community organizations. Over 80% of the funding for our education and training program comes from participating employers through a contract negotiated with Local 26 workers. These contracts become even more important as we're seeing hotels being sold constantly, but there's a steady level of consistency with the workers with these contracts in place. Jobs like room attendants, dishwashers, food service, and cooks can and do sustain families. People's lives change when employers invest by providing good wages, affordable health care benefits, and training opportunities. This successful model has been used elsewhere. In Las Vegas, industry partners such as MGM and Caesars fund the Culinary Training Center, where they train thousands of workers a year. Here in Boston, we serve over 500 workers a year. Workers come on their own time and by their own choice to improve their language or customer service skills, or to train for other positions such as cooks, food servers, and we do outreach into the community to successfully recruit and train people to get into the industry. See if I can do this. No? Okay. These partners that I'm talking about, the Local 26 hospitality employers, have found a way to offer workers a comprehensive benefit package that allows them access to the American dream. They have paid time off when their children are sick. They have vacation pay, medical plan, education and training, and $10,000 down payment towards the purchase of a home. Our trainees come from diverse backgrounds. 60% are non-native speakers, and 50% have a high school diploma or less. Most of them live in the communities where they work. So what do we teach? Based on what workers and employers need, we teach 5 levels of English classes, computer and technology skills, GED, citizenship prep, culinary arts, professional food server, room attendant classes, and all of the classes include customer service skills, understanding diversity, and handling conflict. Workers graduate with the skills and the competencies that our employers need. Our employer partners have high standards. At one time, a room attendant need not speak English. In most hotels, that's no longer the case. Employees need to have excellent customer service skills. Okay. We also teach, as I said, culinary and food service classes, but all of our students get certified in national food safety certifications, in TIPS and TEAM, which are the responsible serving of alcohol. We teach micros, which is the point of entry system for that most hospitality employers use. Waiters today, when you go into a restaurant, you notice they're holding a handheld gadget. We teach that. Our professional food server class is very popular with workers who want to pick up extra shifts doing banquet work or as an advancement opportunity. Constantina Cruz began as a room attendant, making $35,000 a year. She took the professional food server class, picked up extra shifts as an on-call banquet server, and was promoted to a full-time banquet server, where she now makes $80,000 a year. She's also bought a home. She has 2 daughters in college, and she was recently interviewed in a Boston Globe article where she said, "I think I'm living the American dream." This here is Estelle. Estelle recently graduated from our room attendant training program. It's a 7-week full-time program. People learn how to make a bed, clean a bathroom, but they learn customer service skills. They learn the career pathways right from the beginning of their career. Her goal is to become a front desk agent. Our room attendant students, as I said, learn how to make beds and clean bathrooms, but they also learn how to use computers in online applications, and they learn the interviewing skills of a job. Many room attendants, dishwashers, cooks today, to get a job, they go through 5 interviews. So they really have to prepare. And the online applications that they have to fill out have behavioral questions. One application can take 45 minutes. Well, all our skills classes have an ergonomics instructor as well to demonstrate safety practices. And all of our programs were developed with our employer partners. I knew I'd do this. So what is the outcome and return on investment? One worker who comes to mind that is taking all the classes at the training center is Olivia Cristobal. When she first came from Peru, she didn't have enough English to say, "Hold the elevator." She had to use her foot. She has now taken our English, computers, financial literacy, and professional food server class. She said her life changed the day she was able to say, "Please wait for me." She's been certified in food safety, CPR, safe serving of alcohol, and she's moved from a prep cook to a busser position at the Colonnade Hotel. She also bought a home recently. In 3 years, we've graduated 118 people from our room attendant class. 88% were placed in positions that pay $17 an hour with full health care benefits, and our retention rate in the last year is over 90%. At one of our recent graduations, we had the hotel managers in and the union, and this manager said, "We want you to succeed, the union wants you to succeed, and Best Corp wants you to succeed." We have employers that come to these graduations offering people jobs on the spot. Another recent graduation we had was at the Boston Convention Center, where the convention center is a partner, and they allowed us to host a graduation there for 40 people. And Attorney General Martha Coakley came and shared in the graduation with us, as well as Union President Brian Lang and many hotel employer partners. So I know a key goal of the Gaming Commission is to bring good jobs to Massachusetts, and the opportunity is here. The sectoral model demonstrates what's possible. Creating and maintaining good jobs at every level is a pathway out of poverty. And I hope that that is what you consider when you're creating these jobs. Thank you.
Lori Salome teaches in the Eisberg School of Management at UMass Amherst in the Department of Hospitality and Tourism Management, where she has been since 2001. Her classes include Introduction to Hospitality Tourism, Hospitality Law, Gaming and Social Policy, and Casino Operations Management. Prior to teaching, Ms. Salome was an attorney at the Community Legal Aid, formerly Western Massachusetts Legal Services, where she was a staff attorney, an AmeriCorps Domestic Violence Project Attorney, and an Equal Justice Fellow, developing a program doing economic development work with the low-income community. I'd like to introduce you, Lori Salome.
Well, I feel like today is an Olympic race. It's a relay race, and I'm the closer. And like every good closer, I got to be fast, and I want to bring home the gold medal for everybody in Massachusetts because we're all going to be a winner in this, endeavor that we're doing. And I want to start by winning by pressing the right button with this. Nope. Nope. Okay, which one is it? Yeah, to the right, to the right. Okay, got it. All right. So let me just start by telling you who we are. And I am here representing the Department of Hospitality and Tourism Management, which is part of the Eisenberg School of Management housed at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. We were established in 1938, so we certainly are one of the oldest hospitality and tourism management programs in the country. We are ranked as one of the top programs in the world. Historically, we're ranked in the top 10 in the country. We're very excited. A recent ranking just put us at number 6. We're usually top 20 in the world. So even though we've been around a long time, we continue to grow, we continue to change. In 2007, we opened up the Marriott Center for Hospitality Management, a $6.2 million food and beverage teaching and research facility. I think a couple members of the commission were there recently for a training that was put on by the Massachusetts Compulsive Gambling Commission Council, and it's a beautiful facility. So we continue to grow, we continue to expand our program. We're one of only 54-year hospitality management programs that are accredited by our accreditation program, ACPHPA, which means that we have to follow extreme academic rigors in order to make our accreditation on a regular basis. We have excellent faculty in both the business area as well as strong academic backgrounds. We have approximately 600 to 700 students at any given time in our program. We run a Bachelor of Science program as well as a PhD degree program. Typical areas of concentration for our students run in casino management, club management, food and beverage management, lodging management, tourism, convention, and event management. Many of our students do a dual degree. Most often I see a pairing with accounting or with finance. One really nice thing that we've been doing for a number of years is you can do our entire 4-year degree BS program online. We also run a certificate program online in 2 areas. One is in casino events or casino management, and the other is in events management. And the online programs are great for adult workers. We get people from all over the world. Because I teach in the casino management program, I had a student who was a pit boss on the Italian-Swiss border. So you get students from all over the world. I had a student who was serving in the Allied Armed Forces in Afghanistan. They bring great perspective, and it gives them the opportunities, working professionals, to come back to school and earn a degree from a program that is a brick and mortar building. So you get the same faculty that you have at UMass Amherst, the same courses that you would have at UMass Amherst. You can typically do the certificate program in 1 year as opposed to going through a 4-year program. We also have international associations with programs in Switzerland, Scotland, Ireland, Australia, and England. One thing about our casino program, usually the class sizes for our on-campus program is maybe 25 to 30 students. This last semester in spring, we had 65 to 70 students in each of those classes. So we're expecting to see that demand to continue in Massachusetts with the passage of the casino bill. So that's a little something about who we are. Let me tell you a little bit something about our alumni, what they do. We have over 6,500 alumni right here in New England, about 15,000 worldwide. Every year, UMass does a survey of all graduating seniors. We don't have the 2012 results yet, but the 2011 results had a 96% placement rate for our alums. So they're highly sought after. We run a big career day. It's completely run by our students. This year we had 53 recruiters there, and the 2011 we had 48 recruiters. So we're actually expecting a larger placement rate than 96%. Our program is preparing managers and leaders for career opportunities in the areas of hotel restaurant management, resort and club operations, casino management, tourism planning development, accounting and finance, human resources, sales and marketing, event and planning, and more. Pretty much if you look around at any hospitality company you can think of, you can find one of our alum. They're very active in the industry. They're very active with us. We have a very large advisory board. They pay money to be on that board. They come, they meet with us, they mentor our students. We work really closely with industry. We maintain a lot of connections, and certainly the electronic and social networking has helped with that. We haven't had a lot of success getting the casino industry as part of our network and having them come to our career day. I've personally reached out to them many, many times. I have great success having them come to my class as a guest speaker. Our neighbors to the south have not come to our career day. One time they registered, 3 days before the event they canceled. Now that was in 2008. It was a tough year. So I can understand that. Now this year, the day before the event, we did have a casino company who called us and said, hey, we just happened to be in town. We heard about your event. We were full. We literally put them in the hallway. They took it. They were happy. We put a table in the hall, and they got some hits. I don't know. I'm hoping that, as we continue to grow the casino industry in this state, that we'll have more interest there. So, but certainly we have leaders all over the world. That's one of our properties from one of our alums. That's the Boston Harbor Hotel. In terms of our work with students, in terms of the community colleges, we have articulated agreements with 5 community colleges right now where the students are automatically enrolled in our program upon graduation from the community college, and it's really nice. We're very eager and willing to expand that program. Whoops, sorry, that went a little fast. But basically, we look at the community college focusing very much on technical skills for some of those kind of middle jobs that we were talking about, and then the students can then take that degree and come to us. Or what we see happen a lot is they take that degree and they go into the workforce. Let's say they go into the casino. Once they're in the casino, then they can come back to school. So they can come back to school part-time with us, or they can take our online program, or maybe they, decide to leave the workforce for some period of time and come back to school. But some of the best students I've had have been coming from the community college, and many of them enter into our Commonwealth Honors Program. And I want to kind of mirror what Marie said, because a lot of our students work. In fact, almost all of my students work. I serve on the scholarship committee, so I read these applications. I cannot tell you how many of my students are self-supporting. They need jobs that pay a living wage, and so to the extent that we have every job in these places paying living wages, it helps everybody in the long run. So, so we have people who are kind of coming in and searching for all sorts of jobs. But certainly we're graduating about 200 people plus or minus a year, and they're looking for internships while they're in school. They're looking for mentoring, either formal or informal mentoring programs. They're looking for jobs while they're in school. Some of them don't have to work, but most of them do have to work, and they're within commuting of the Western Mass Casino. And then they're looking for jobs when they graduate, good entry-level supervisory and management jobs. In terms of our work with the industry, I think we have some language in the bill that actually requires the applicants to address certain aspects of workforce development. I didn't pick out everything, but some of the things that are particularly good. The applicants should address how they're going to utilize the existing workforce. So that kind of is an invitation to say that you should know what your market of the workforce is in this state. That encourages the types of partnerships that we've been talking about. How are you going to hire from the unemployed? That encourages them to work with the organizations that are working with unemployed people. What are the methods for accessing employment? That 45-minute application online could be a huge barrier for some of the people that we work with. And maybe that's my legal services hat coming on. The human resources departments are supposed to have hiring and training practices for developing career advancement and promotion from within. They want to see people have the ability for increased responsibility and pay grade. Some really great language in there that says, tell me, applicant, what are you going to have for resources for tuition reimbursement? Hello, I like that one. On-site daycare, what are you going to have available for people so that they can take advantage of those things? So there's some language in there that gives us some real opportunities, affirmative action, workforce development programs, all that stuff the applicant should be looking at ahead of time. So it gives us lots of opportunities to create partnerships, and that's kind of what we've been talking about all along. And certainly the legislature anticipated that. I think that the industry is very, very good at training dealers. They're a numbers game. That's what they're about. That's really all they care about. The rest is the frosting on the cake. It's about the cake. That's what holds everything up. And I think we're kidding ourselves if we don't admit that. They're very good at training that. But if you want to take somebody who's a dealer and promote them into another type of job, they need to also have management skills. And I think that's where a program like UMass comes in. If you want to take people who have some of the other middle jobs and move them into management jobs that have higher pay and higher progression, then employees are going to have to get the management training, and that's where we're very helpful. So they could come to us. We could actually come in and do intensive training programs on site with the casinos. So maybe what the casinos do is every year they identify a group of 20 rising stars within the casino. These are people who we want to groom this year. And so once a month, you're going to come in UMass, and you're going to do an intensive every Thursday or every third Thursday. You're going to come in for 3 hours and do an intensive, and here's their workbook. And at the end of the year, they're going to get a certificate, and they're going to move into supervisory jobs from a housekeeping job or from a dealer's job or something like that. So there's opportunities to do that. We also, because we already have an online program, we could do this all online. It's very easy for us to customize that. We can change the content. We can change the length of time. We can completely change that, and we could do it for all of the casinos. None of this has to be proprietary for one or for the other, because we're talking about skills that are going to enhance the customer service or enhance the management skills for the whole workforce team. We had a gentleman from Mohegan Sun. He was kind of an entry-level supervisor, and he went through our certificate program, and he said, this program is fantastic. Every single manager here should go through it. I want you to meet our HR guy. You should totally get this going. Sure, we'd love to. Are you kidding? Absolutely. Well, that happened in 2008. It was a big year for us. And unfortunately, that wasn't a time for them to be thinking about spending money on career development, and so it didn't really proceed, but we were ready to do it. So I think the opportunities are there, and certainly we have the ability to do those types of things. So I really would like to see each licensee have either internal or outsourced management training executive development program with two facets. One is identifying an in-house talent pool, and the other is having a program for recent college graduates where they're moving them into management. And when times are tough, sometimes that's a program that gets cut. So I don't want to see that get cut. So I think that's kind of an important thing. And I'd like to see them working with UMass. There's some really great examples out there. UNLV, University of New Orleans, they work very closely with the casinos. And, the industry actually provides significant funding to higher ed in the states where they are, because they realize that they're going to get a really high quality worker that enhances their product and brings them more money. It's the next generation, if you will, of employees that feeds their production, and they know it. So it's to their advantage, and it's good PR as well to say that they've given money to UNLV. I would hope that part of the application process would show memorandum of understanding with the community colleges, with UMass and things like that, says that this applicant understands what an asset they have in this state as far as education is concerned. And just as kind of an aside, 70% of the students in our program at HTM come from Massachusetts. And, when I graduated from UNLV, we all wanted to travel. I mean, in 11 years, I lived in 6 states, and I was glad to do it. But most of our students, they want to stay in Massachusetts. And I have students saying now, I want to go work for a casino company so that when they open up in 4 or 5 years, I can come back home. So, most of the students want to stay here. So we have students who are from here, they want to stay here. It's a talent pool that, it's our sons, it's our daughters, it's our assets, and it would be nice to have them stay here. Just some closing thoughts. We have the resources in the state now to build the casino industry. We just need to kind of get a commitment on the part of the industry to hire local. Like you see those bumper stickers all the time, buy local, hire local. Really, you can hire local. You don't need to go outside of the state. And I think that the commission actually has the ability to encourage that. In Connecticut, as other people have mentioned, we did see people come from out of state, and there's a lot of problems that go along with that, substandard housing, educational drains, and things like that. The flip side of that we talked about is that cannibalization. Suddenly the jobs get posted and everybody moves to take those jobs, and it leaves local employers kind of screwed. So we kind of want to avoid that too. So by thinking strategically ahead of time, which is what we've been talking about, long-term strategic planning, how do we get people ready, move them into the jobs in a way that's kind of organic and take shape without kind of putting a burden on anybody, is a win for everybody, I think, at the table. So look forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
As you can see, we do have the training capacity in this region within our community college and four-year college system that's very adaptable to the needs of the gaming industry. We do have to address the workforce pipeline as far as career readiness, as far as preparation and the skills gap to be able to make sure that we can supply not only the gaming industry, but our existing infrastructure of business and industry. I do want to apologize, Marie. I was remiss in not allowing the commissioners to ask you questions, but for the sake of time, I figured we could open it up for more questions at this point to the commissioners.
I just have one question, more of a comment too. You know, I think it's pretty evident to Lori's last point that we certainly have the training capacity and the assets within the state to provide a incoming gaming operator the workforce that they're going to need, and help them really meet their needs to open on time, and at the same time, you know, it's a training, workforce development, worker recruitment can be a tremendous expense, and trying to dispel that expense as much as we can is helpful. I had a question in terms of lots of incentives out there now, work opportunity tax credits, benefits for hiring veterans, and maybe this is a question directed at the Rep, but how do all of those incentives potentially play into a workforce development plan regionally, statewide, per location? You know, the credits are out there. You know, is the Rep giving thought to try to be a partner and use those for a gaming operator if they hire from those respective?
Yeah, we're looking at the utilization of work opportunity tax credit. Not only that, but the workforce training fund, hiring incentive training grants, looking at how we disperse our WIA funding, youth and adult dislocated workers, to make sure we can complement any existing funds that come through for training, to make sure, because one of the things we have to do is to be able to sustain this workforce pipeline, not just create a whole huge training program in the last 2 years and it sort of disappears. So those type of opportunities, work opportunity tax credit, hopefully the Workforce Competitive Trust Fund gets passed. That's based on sector initiatives as well. Any of those type of initiatives, we would look at that, look at where the need is, and try to balance the career readiness. A lot of those programs are geared toward your more marginalized person who we're trying to bring into this program. So we look at utilizing those tools to also provide a trained workforce. What's going to happen is that there's going to be a lot of, we have a workforce pipeline, we say from pre-K to grade. We look at the whole workforce pipeline, but this is not going to be one contiguous pipeline. There's going to be streams of different inputs into the college system at different points of entry, whether they go directly into the community college, whether they go to the four-year college on some kind of transfer compact, or they have to go through a workforce readiness training program for career readiness and the GED. So as we look at those different streams and try to bring them into the overall continuous workforce pipeline, being aware of our workforce that's aging out, being aware that the workforce coming behind them is not as large. So we utilize all those tools to make sure that that's happening. And like Spiro said earlier, we've already started the planning for this, because I'm looking at all these occupations and looking at the ONET codes for them and the competencies. And like I said, the colleges already have the capacity, but we want to make sure the other components, the career readiness component, the transitional assistance component, all those components are brought in so we don't leave anybody behind. We've heard a lot of examples of other casinos that have left a lot of individuals behind who live directly in that neighborhood, so it did not have the social economic impact that we wanted. We don't want to do that, so we're looking at this right now to envision how we can include as many individuals and citizens, regardless of where this ends up, into the mix here. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had a question as to all these presentations describe terrific programs. Are there lines of demarcation between what they each deal with, or should there be?
Well, yeah, there is and there isn't. I mean, certainly you can distinguish between a certificate program, an associate degree program, a baccalaureate, a graduate program, and the like. And so there are some lines of demarcation. On the other hand, many of us do more than one of those things, and there is overlap and even competition in some areas. And frankly, one of the reasons that, and the prime reason that 6 months ago we went ahead and said, hey, we want to take a collaborative approach towards this, is that we didn't think it was a good use of any of our resources or of your time and energy to be dealing with 100 different workforce providers, and that if we could take a more concentrated collaborative approach, irrespective of the lines of demarcation or lack of same, it'd be in everybody's best interest. And so one of the things that's then becomes incumbent upon us, the providers, if you will, is sitting down at a table, and our approach now is to do that on a regional basis and hash out who's doing what. You know, you get the sense there's a rich array of training programs available on all levels, and there certainly are. We simply need to determine how are we going to approach this challenge so we can maximize our resources and minimize the competition among us.
I know one of the comments that I've gotten from my colleagues in the eastern part of the state is, we didn't know you had such a great relationship with your community college system, with the WIBs, and how we interact with our partner WIBs in the north and to the east. And I think that's a benefit to this region, that we can work with the community college system and the four-year college system. And yes, there's always going to be some healthy level of competition, but yet we can collaborate together and create a synergy when necessary.
This is something, maybe it's at some point an issue that we're going to need some help with, and I just throw it out there. You can speak to it or just be thinking about it, but because of the peculiar nature of this business, we have to do background checks on all of our employees. We have a legislative mandate for all the gaming commissions. We have to do background checks, including drug testing, and we will probably mandate some pretty high level of similar scrutiny for the employees of the gaming facilities. Query checks, credit checks, drug testing tends to discriminate against a certain socioeconomic cohort of people, many of whom are the people who most need the job training, the help, and the jobs. So we've got a problem. You know, how do we match this important market audience resource with our job opportunity, and can we do that? I don't know exactly what the answer to that is, but it would be a pity if we ended up having to define out of this upward mobility opportunity a whole cohort of people who, because of their backgrounds, can't access it.
And that's an aspect of this that we're well aware of, and one of the things that we talked about at our initial meeting in the western region was, you know, are there certain of the workforce partners who have a particular expertise in that area of running for rechecks and all the rest. And so we're currently hashing that out among ourselves. We know full well that that dimension to the issue, along with the need that, for a graduate program or a baccalaureate program, you're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years, necessitates the fact that we're going to have to take on this challenge right now. Even if the casinos aren't going to be in operation till 2015, 2016, whatever the date is, we need to start now. One of the casinos developers described it as a funnel. If you've got 10,000 jobs that need to be filled, we're probably going to have to generate 20 to 30,000 initial individuals for those jobs because of that screening process that needs to be put in place.
And we
Well,
deal
isn't
with
there
that
a different, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Marie.
Don't we have different criteria for gaming versus non-gaming employees in terms of the level of scrutiny of the
Yeah.
application?
Sure.
So maybe that's the other way to think about it, that in terms of moving up pay grade, certain areas of the property may always be unavailable to certain people. And they should know that. That should be part of the employee training program, is to educate people to know that. But, with any cash handling position, if you wanted to work in banking, that would probably be the case as well.
Sometimes it also depends on the level of the query. If you're talking about a felony, how deep into the credit check do you go? Because that's where I run a lot of training programs, and I've lost some students because of query issues, selective service or whatever. So it depends, what the particular facility is looking for. Are they looking at just disincluding anybody that has a felony or above? Will they include certain levels of query? And one of our partners, the Career Centers, has a level of expertise in that as well, in dealing with those type of situations, as well as our community-based organizations that we work with.
Right. We haven't obviously thought this through yet about how we would handle that, but, one thing just occurred to me as you were talking, Bill, about your program. Could there be some kind of a training/certification process which, if it were successfully completed, could neutralize the negative effect of a credit check problem or of a query problem? I don't know, I haven't thought about that, but I'm wondering whether Atlantic community colleges, they must have the same issue. I wonder whether, if you're certified by that curriculum, even if you had a problem prior to that certification, does that say to the casino operators in Atlantic City that since you got this certification, you are okay, never mind the problem that you used to have?
Interesting.
Is that
Certificate of readiness or something.
Pardon?
A certificate of readiness or something.
Something like that, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's going to be what the casino operator is going to recognize. That's really the key. Would they be willing to, if an individual had a challenge, but they went through a 6-month financial customer service / whatever, will that organization say that's acceptable to us? And that's the key to it.
Yeah. The point I wanted to make is it's actually not up to the casino operators, it's up to us. We will put the licensing standards in place. And I'm not aware in Atlantic City of any program where significant issues in licensing can be overcome by any kind of a training program.
That's great.
Just have not been willing to take those risks when it comes to licensing someone.
I guess it depends on the level of the position too. Obviously, if you're a financial services manager, the operator can assist that we cannot accept felonies because of that.
There are several levels of background investigations, but even the lower level investigations are significant when it comes to those kinds of issues.
So if we look at it, because all of our organizations always look at career track, not just placing individuals in jobs. So if we look at different levels of career track, maybe there's an opportunity at the lower entry-level positions that it will not be as acute. And as you work your way up through professional development, to take this particular course that's designed through a 4-year or 2-year community college, maybe that's your point of entry because you've already proven yourself as a good employee. So that might be an approach toward that as well.
however we solve it, I mean, however we approach it, I echo the chairman's thought and my colleague, Commissioner Cameron's thought that particularly on the credit front, I mean, we're in a time of enormous economic reversal when a lot of people have gotten into credit problems. And now the jobs have come potentially to get them out of the problems. And if they're going to be disqualified because they had the problems, we're really not going to make this thing work the way it should. So somehow we've got to come to grips with that, and that starts perhaps at the training and screening level.
But as Commissioner Cameron mentioned, if we're setting the policies and the procedures, it's going to be very helpful in addressing that situation, as long as it's equitable for our trainees as well as the organization that's looking to place roots here.
Right, and we've got to work together to figure out how to address it.
Absolutely. Are there any more questions? Commissioner Crosby, how would you like to proceed? Open dialogue?
No, I think we're done, and I'm just reminded by Commissioner Stebbins that my job was to wrap up. I just want to thank you all and your predecessor panels. This has been great stuff. As usual, I'm walking away with page after page of notes. Some of the ideas that came out, this issue about the host communities and the surrounding communities really negotiating quickly and upfront for mitigation monies so that they're not just laying back waiting for our monies, talking about using the RPAs, talking about putting time frames in the community mitigation agreements so that you can reopen a window and renegotiate. I mean, there's a whole host of really interesting ideas that have come out of this, and it is a tremendous resource for us in the commission as we will get to the next phase of writing the regs that are site specific, that really have to do with the particular proposals. And we're going to need a vast amount of help from folks like all these panelists to help us figure out what do we put in these regs, what are the gating criteria, and this kind of a forum has been tremendously helpful. So to all of you, I say thank you very much. To those of you in the audience behind me, I'm sorry I've had my back to you all day long, but thank you very much for coming. We now, I think, will switch to an actual meeting of the commission in order that we can deliberate together a little bit about some of the things that you all have talked about. So we'll take a real quick break, and then we'll come up front and convene a meeting. Thank you again very much.